The attitude indicator has unlocked the full information embedded inside the aircraft, which I personally think is a very good changes. This video will be a basic yet detailed explanation of its complete functionality and some personal tips on how to easily utilize this attitude indicator for drones that are using the DJI Fly App version 1.2.2 like the current Mavic Mini, Mini 2 and Mavic Air 2. The attitude indicator basically uses a mixture of gyroscope or gyrometers, accelerometer, satellite, and compass to give us the final indication of the aircraft behavior and its stability in the air, transmitting live in the DJI Fly App. A similar indicator design were already being used by the DJI Go or Go 4 app with the other DJI drone series. So if you have used those apps before, you should already know what it does. Let's understand the entire attitude indicator and its teeny-weeny icon first. To make it easier to understand, I will try to make a sequence of it and understand one part of it first, before the other part, which all of it eventually will work together in the end. This is to minimize the attitude indicator and change into map view. This yellow circle, hatch marking, is the home point and will only be available after a sufficient satellite connection has been established. This blue circle and its pointer arrow will be the orientation of the mobile device attached into the standard remote control, and the orientation accuracy is based on the mobile device magnetometer compass and GPS, not the remote control. Except that if you are using the DJI Smart Controller, then yes, that will be called just the remote control, as the Smart Controller I believe has a GPS and compass module built into it. To make it easier and short, I will name it MDRC, which stands for Mobile Device and Remote Control for future reference. This icon will be the aircraft and is fixed being a center point, and this entire circle with the end for north will react based on the aircraft compass, heading direction, and a bit of distance in relation to the home point and MDRC. As per my several tests with the Mavic Mini, it seems that the distance radius of this circle is about 15 meters. This green faded wave in front of the heading or nose is the gimbal and camera that will move accordingly when the aircraft is turning. I will leave these two lines for the second part, so ignore that first. Now I will do a quick example and put in some number for easier reference in the upcoming example to understand the first part of it, provided everything is working properly as intended, which I will talk about it after finish explaining this attitude indicator. Assuming the aircraft is close to us, approximately not more than 50 meters away, which make the home point and MDRC to be within this circle, otherwise it will be at the last layer. When the home point and MDRC are at 180, it means that both home point and MDRC are at the same or close proximity spot, while the aircraft is right in front of us and we will be looking at the rear of the aircraft. If both home point and MDRC at 0, it will mean that we are looking at the camera of the aircraft. When the home point and MDRC are at 90, it means that both home point and MDRC are at the same or close proximity spot and the aircraft is also right in front of us and we will be looking at the right side of the aircraft. So vice versa, if both the home point and MDRC at 270, we will be looking at the left side of the aircraft. When the home point is at 0 and the MDRC at 180, it means that we are looking at the rear of the aircraft and the home point will be slightly in front of the aircraft, which is not the same spot as the MDRC. But this will change when the aircraft fly forward, passing the home point, and after certain distance, both the home point and MDRC will look like it was on the same spot. When the situation changed into this where the home point is now at 90 and MDRC at 270, when the aircraft fly forward to 0, depending on how far the home point and MDRC are apart from each other, it will probably take a bit of the aircraft distance to make both of them become together with each other and happily ever after. When the aircraft rotate 180 and fly back on the same flight path, it will then slowly separate into the initial spot. Now let's have a quick one just for this blue circle, the orientation of the MDRC alone for a better connectivity or further flight distance, especially for the Mavic Mini users. It's pretty straightforward that this arrow should always be pointing at the direction of the aircraft. If the MDRC is at 180, it would be ideal that the pointing arrow looks like this, not to the left, right, or behind. If the MDRC at 90, then the pointing arrow should look like this. 0 like this. 270 like this. The ideal position of the MDRC in relation to the aircraft will be either at close proximity of 0 or 180. I found out that, personally, it is easier to use the MDRC circle only when flying out or away, and when I decided to return, I will use the aircraft icon and heading to line up the MDRC or the home point, depending on where I want to get it back. Most of the time it's the MDRC, as I always treat the home point as a backup plan. I hope you can manage to follow and understand the first part of it, as now I'm going to talk about the second part, these two lines. It looks like the attitude indicator being used in aviation industry, but the reaction is different and opposite. I'm not sure what and how to exactly name it. If you have an idea, let me know in the comment below. For now, I will just call it tilting line and explain based on its reaction. Basically, this tilting line represents the maintaining level of the aircraft and react accordingly, especially when the aircraft is tilting into a direction. The following quick sample is from the Mavic Mini, and it may slightly differ from the Mini 2 and Mavic Air 2 in terms on how high or low the line will be, as it depends on each aircraft model tilting angle in relation to the speed mode. So, when the aircraft is level, the tilting line will be level and in reference to the artificial horizon line. When the aircraft is flying straight forward in P mode, for example, the line will react based on the current tilting angle of the aircraft and will rise up to the front of the aircraft icon. The opposite will happen if the aircraft is flying backward, and the tilting line will move to the back of the aircraft icon. Now, when the aircraft rolls to the left, the tilting line will react accordingly. And the opposite when rolling to the right. If you see this happen when coming to a stop, it is normal as the aircraft increase motor load of the other side that lead to counter tilt for a stop and then try to balance or level itself to hover in position. Let's take a quick look if we use the slowest or the fastest sport mode. What difference will the tilting line make? Of course, we don't really bother how does the aircraft fly or tilt in reality, but this tilting line will provide one very important piece of information: the actual aircraft wind resistance and direction. Previously, aside from wind forecast app that only show estimated wind information and the famous strong wind warning, I use this flight telemetry to judge the wind speed and resistance in real time. Now, with this attitude indicator and the tilting line, we should be able to know the wind resistance and direction better than before, regardless of the aircraft current location. Can't believe we all have been flying without the complete set of aircraft information for more than a year for the Mavic Mini. Here's a close shot sample to illustrate the aircraft resistance to force or wind to stay in place with the assist of the satellite or downward vision sensor from each side, and how does the tilting line react in the Fly App live feed. Once we are familiar with how does the tilting line react in normal wind condition, when it comes to windy condition and you notice the combination of tilting line and aircraft speed is not normal, you will already know the wind situation on top and to take necessary precaution. A quick troubleshooting if the blue circle does not appear in the attitude indicator. Turn your mobile device location or GPS on. As for inaccuracy or even if the mobile device location is on but still no luck, maybe you can try my previous video to diagnose and possibly find a fix for it. Apologize for the lengthy video as there are just too much information I wish to share to all of you. Thanks for watching and see you on my next video.